sound. All right, so we're good. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. This is Walt. We've got Johan and we've got Chris from White Label Suite. We have one of our idols and mentors on the screen right now with us, somebody that's been a massive influence with us in the marketing world. And we are so thrilled to have this man with us here again in our White Label Suite world. We're referring to none other than Mr. Shaun Clark. Shaun, who's the co-founder of High Level, which was created and founded in 2018, is not the first a successful SaaS or marketing software that Shaun's been involved in. It's not the first, it's not the second, it's not the third, it's not even the fourth startup and build up that Shaun's created, but it is something that we are incredibly excited about. And Johan and Chris and myself, we can talk about High Level for days. Just give us the chance because we are the biggest fans on the planet. But we are super excited to bounce around with Shaun today and talk about how High Level is adapting AI, what AI means in the marketplace for us as business owners, and how it's going to influence our business growth as we're moving forward. So with no further ado, but lots of streamers and confetti, Mr. Shaun Clark, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Great to see you, man. Now, I timed that intro specifically so you could take that one last mouthful of coffee.
I know. Well, I probably timed it poorly.
No, it was great. It's fantastic. Man, thank you so much. So last time that we jumped on, we were talking about all the kind of different aspects of High Level. And just before we hit record, we were saying how quickly the development team with High Level are coming on board. Now, I know you've got, I think it's over 300 team in the programming crew right now. Like, is that an accurate number? Man,
yep, that's about, yeah.
That must mean that your development cycles, like your teams are releasing features so quickly that it's just an incredible thing to see. As the owner, are you seeing things come through that space, amazing things in High Level that you kind of are surprised by because they've been worked on the team and they're kind of popping up to you going, ta-da, we're ready?
Oh yeah, every day. Absolutely, 100%. I mean, that's the fun of it now, is that I'm as blown away as other people are because I had no idea it was coming.
Wow, that's so good. So good. So you must have incredible people in the team driving that innovation forward, yeah?
Absolutely, 100%. We have a great product management team. They own each aspect of the app, and their job is to not only listen to customer feedback, but prioritize it, look at the ideas list, and go out and make it happen.
Wow, so good. So I know that like you constantly have openings in that team and, you know, people coming in. And I guess I'm giving a shout out to anybody that's watching this from a software point of view. Get in touch with the guys from High Level. Like there's some amazing things. So you just came back from a trip to Japan with the whole team. And we're talking about innovation and inspiration, looking for that there. And of course, we've seen, you know, the robots and the dancing stuff on the screen. But one of the biggest innovations that we're seeing, obviously, in software right now is the advent of AI. How is that impacting the team over at High Level?
Yeah, I would say we're digging in all over the place. So we announced private beta even today of automatic review replies using AI. We've already got AI content generation across the board, whether it's text content or image content, and I'm certain in the future we'll have video content. I'm most excited about the upcoming release at the end of this month of the AI bot, which is already kind of in private beta with some of our larger customers, because I really think that is still the place where most businesses stand to make the most money, which is really, nurturing the leads that they have coming in, very quickly getting those people's answers, and then also moving them on to the next step, which is usually booking an appointment. And that's really what our AI bot is all about. And so I think that's kind of the place where I think we'll see the biggest impact, but we're obviously going to continue to infuse AI across the board.
Man, that's amazing. So in the interest of making sure that everybody who's watching this knows what we're talking about, tell me more about the AI conversation bot as it's coming through. I've had a play in the dashboard. I'm loving what I'm seeing. I'm creating my own world. But tell us in your words, how's the flow of an incoming lead going to be impacted by this?
Yeah, so today we kind of already would tell people to do this, right? So a lead comes in. The first thing we got to realize is we need to get to people very quickly. And so with in the past, the way it's worked is, we've always done SMS, because the problem we run into is that leads come in when leads come in. So it doesn't matter whether you're ready or not. And if you don't get back to that lead in 5 minutes or less, they're just calling your competitor, right? Or they've just decided they're not going to buy off the ad that they clicked on because they've forgotten who you are and somebody else called them, and they go pick up their kids from school, whatever it is, you're done. Basically, you've thrown away that money. And so how do we get back to them quickly? What we were doing before is we would automatically reach out. We would SMS, hey, how's it going? This is Bob from Bob's Towing. I saw you wanted to get in on our great offer. I'd love to talk to you about how we can make that happen for you. Is now a good time to get you booked. right? And that really was a leap forward because most people weren't doing that. And then of course we had it so people would say, yeah, I'd love to book, but I have some questions. How much does it cost to do this? What, or do you offer this, or does it come in blue, or whatever it is? And in those moments we would lose people. So we would be like, oh shoot, I hope the business owner responds, because we don't know how to say whether it comes in blue or not. So at that point we would lose people. Now, of course, we would still get about half the people to book. And since before that you were looking at like 10%, 10 to 50, most people think that's a 40% increase, but it's not. It's actually a 400% increase, I think. And so ultimately, that was a huge leap forward. But now with AI, we can continue that conversation. We can say, oh, yes, we actually do have that in blue. Now, are you ready to book? Right? We can really continue that whole thing through, but we can do it in real time. And then also, I've always been asked, can you do live chat? And my retort has always been, yeah, as soon as your business owner is there to respond within 10 seconds or less. But now we've answered that, which is we don't need them at all anyways. Thank you. We'll just do that ourselves. The AI can now do that. So we're also rolling out a full live chat mode. So that way you don't have to leave the website. You can do the chat right then and there. But most importantly, if you look at all the AI demos, they're cool. But if you really think and ask yourself, like, well, wait a second, how could I use this right here to help a business? Most of the time, the answer is I couldn't. And so as a result, what we tried to do here and what we've been successful with is moving people towards a goal. And in most cases, this is an appointment booking. And then we've also done this idea of fence posting it. So it's like, let's say you need some information or you want some information to allow them to book. I'm not a big fan of this because I like open-ended, easy, kind of low friction situations. But some people like, how much square footage do you have in your house? Like, I need to know that in order to get a good painting
like a
quote. Qualification, exactly.
Wow.
So the way the bot works is before it offers you the booking link, it makes sure that you answer those questions first. So that way, by the time you do get on the call, that salesperson can sort of say, oh, well, great. Just want to let you know, I can see that you qualify, or here's what the price is, or I can see, or even just informs the conversation. I can see that you want to rent versus buy, whatever it might be.
Wow, that's amazing. So that as a standalone feature is an incredible value in going into the high level space.
Huge.
And of course, allowing the agency owners to then take that out into their marketplace. Is it going to be something that gets sold standalone? So we know that in SaaS mode, and one of the beautiful things about SaaS mode is you can create a package for a client based on what they need right then and there. Is the conversational bot going to be part of SaaS mode?
Absolutely, 100%.
I saw you just check your mental Rolodex. So you're like, wait, is it going to? So it's literally going to be something that somebody, as an agency owner, can turn on or off based on the packages that they're setting up within the program.
100%. Although I almost think it's a great foot in the door, because if you think about every business owner, I think this is the future. I think there's not a business where you're not going to talk to a bot. And I don't know that a lot of people may try to pretend these things are human or whatever. I don't even think you need to do that. I think most of us will find that the robots of yesterday are the robots of yesterday, but the robots of today are far better than the robots of yesterday. And we'll be okay with the fact that we're talking to a robot, because honestly, we're just trying to get some good answers. And if that robot can give us good answers in a relatively quick fashion, we won't really care. And so I imagine most businesses will have a robot in place. And I don't think this is radically different than right now. Like, you call a business after hours and they try to give you something like, our office hours are this, or how to get to us is that, or blah, 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 right? Very like generic recorded stuff. But imagine something where you could actually get what you wanted to call about.
Wow.
Who would care whether it comes from something that's automated or not? I think what we care about is that it's quick, it's precise, right? And it's consistent and it's available. And that's, I think, where AI is today. So I'd have no idea how in the world we're not going to see this across the board with every small business, period.
Fantastic. I love it. And of course, being integrated into a CRM, you can imagine that those conversations are then going to be in the contact system, in the history of that customer. So you'll be able to come in and see exactly what's happened with that conversation as you've gone in. Wow, that's so cool, man. So one of the things you said there was that you feel that there's not going to be any conversations you're having that aren't with a bot these days. And I completely agree with you.
At least to start with, yeah. There'll be a bot somewhere out there in case that person isn't ready, which is most of the time.
So this is going to drive massive efficiencies for a business. Like, you can see that there's going to be a shift internally of admin staff, kind of frontline entry-level customer inquiry that's going to be replaced by AI. How do you feel that that's going to impact businesses as a whole moving forward?
I mean, I think it'll just make like every other efficiency. You know, we once moved from paper to computers, right? And so that radically increased the efficiency of that business, and it was allowed them to do more with less. And I think this will continue that trend, right? And I think every small business owner will need it. I think I mean, I already know as a fact that there's just this plague of business sort of washing up on a business, and they're just letting it like bounce off because they just don't have what they need in order to make this happen. And really, what that is it's people calling, writing, texting, emailing. I need this. I want to buy your stuff, but you're just not answering me. That they don't say that, but that's how it works.
Right.
And because they're not there to pick up the phone and be immediately available, they lose that business. And so if you look at big companies, of course, they solve for this because they have hordes of people on call centers and websites and this and that. And it's people. Well, small businesses can't afford that. And AI just changes that game. And again, if you look at most people's questions, and we're going to use this on our own website, we get hundreds of chats a day. We're going to replace it with AI because we're already in a position where our people are 90% of the time using templated answers anyways. So the AI is already going to be able to do that job. So I think this is like, why in the world is this not going to be a thing? Like, why is it the next time you want to get a plumber, a lawyer, a doctor, a dentist, at least start it, at least that initial appointment? There's no way AI can't handle that job today. And if it's this good today, how is it not going to be even better tomorrow?
That's a really good point. So take us back to November 2022, which is really when ChatGPT kind of popped up, and everybody that in our circles anyway, everybody in our circles kind of suddenly went, this is something real. Take us back to that kind of early phase in high level, when the opportunity of AI first came in a boardroom discussion. How did that go down?
Well, first of all, it was not in a boardroom discussion because we don't do it that way. But really what it was is, okay, this stuff looks really cool, but are our customers using it? That was the number one thing we want to know, right? And if so, how? Well, like, where's the value for them? Because we don't care that it's cool, we care that it's useful, right? So ultimately what we do is we always just go to our customers who we know are inventive and who are out in front, and we just start asking them, like, are you using this stuff? And initially, the first answers were yes, we're starting to use it to create blog posts or social media posts or website copy or this or that, right? So we sort of attacked that problem first. And then next it was like, yeah, and we're also trying to use it to generate the images for the social media content. So then we attacked that next, right? And then finally, we've always known lead nurturing is like the golden sort of middle ground that everybody misses. But then it was like, well, are these responses any good? And as we started to see ChatGPT write these really write your papers for college and all this other crazy stuff, that proved to me that it's possible to get the output to the questions. But then the big question was, okay, wait, how do we get it to then move that darn person to an action? Because let's just say it answers every question ever. That doesn't help a business, right? It's got to become an actual booked appointment or a whatever it is that they need. And most of the time it is that, but they need to get them to take an action. So when we cracked that, we knew that we were already lead nurturing. We knew, in the past, what I would have said to people is, listen, put the automations up front. As soon as the automation fails, we'll kick it over to human. You just have a big call center for all people ready to answer those questions. But most people just like, I don't know how to hire a call center. I don't know how to put it to, it's too hard, right?
Problems. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so this was the solve for that. It was like, okay, wait a second, we can do this. And so we had a team go in and try to see if they could do this for ourselves, see if we could do this with example. We have lots of data in the database. Could we do this for all these use cases? And the answers were yes. And then we moved this out to a couple of customers who we knew were kind of on the cutting edge, and they were able to use it, and they thought it was really high quality. And really, all we really learned from that was, hey, this is doable. It can move people to take action, but we didn't need to make it made the training easier. So the only thing that's holding us up right now that'll get done by the end of this month is the ability to train it based on the website. Because really what we want to say is, listen, add your client, put their website in, hit save, done, fully trained, ready to rock. And yes, you could add more, right? There's stuff that's not everybody's website. That's fine. But you got the 90% right there. Deploy it, go. Super simple.
That's super, super, super cool. So do you think that as AI develops, like, as you said, like if it's this good now, where is it going to come from? Do you see it moving more and more through a business? As in, at the moment, we're talking about customer nurture, which is, let's face it, like I've seen a lot of companies go broke, but none of them because they've got too many clients. So customer nurture is one of the most important things that you could ever generate. And of course, at High Level Suite, we preach in lead generation, right? Go and get the leads. And now we're talking about nurture. But can you see AI moving more and more through the business, Shaun? I mean, I know you've got accounting background.
Everything. Everything. I mean, there's
Tell
no
me.
reason. I mean, we're already using this on our side. There's a great product called Copilot X that Microsoft just released on the software development side. We're using this internally, and we're racing to try to get it deployed across all of our engineers. Because if you tell me tomorrow, look, I can get 300 engineers to produce the same output as 600 engineers if you just use this tool, then I'm using it, right? So
Wow.
we're gonna do this across the whole organization. I don't care if it's accounting, I don't care if it's HR. I mean, HR I'm a little sensitive to because I've seen some of the negatives there. So you obviously have to be smart about where you choose to do these things. It's the quality that matters more than anything. But on the programming side, we've already seen huge efficacy where, Copilot X will run out and help that engineer pre-write or write ahead of where they're already writing. And the code it's writing is really good. And,
Wow.
most of it is common boilerplate stuff at this point, but there's a lot, but let's face it, there's also a lot of that as I code. So, I mean, a lot of that is great because you needed that. And that's when you needed it and knew you needed it. And I don't care if it's just, I don't care if it grabbed from a template library, just grabbed the right template at the right time. I mean, it's doing an awesome job there. So there's no way in the world this doesn't go through every industry, every way. Now, of course, I think the most misunderstood part of AI, in my opinion, is that everybody sort of thinks of it like, does it replace or not replace? I don't think like that. I think of to what extent can it accelerate?
Wow.
And I think that, you get to 20%, let's say, as a minimum. I think you can see massive acceleration in so many places. I think it'll make every single person, if you can make them 20% better, faster, whatever, everybody's going to win from that. We're all going to be the beneficiaries of that. And I have no doubt in my mind that is where we're headed.
Wow, that's amazing. So I'm going to talk geek just for a second because let's face it, I own the place and I can do what I like. But when we talk in programming, like we can jump in and talk about ChatGPT and, the conversational AI. But this component, when we're talking about software development being aided by AI and one software developer to another, how far away do you think we are from software actually creating its own code?
Oh, I mean, I don't think we're that far. I mean, I think that, as engineers, if you've been doing it long enough, you understand the abstraction game. So, I mean, when you're using C and you're allocating your own memory and that kind of thing. I mean, if you think about it, the preceding languages simply just live on top of that original abstraction. And I think that this is being and if you think about what that really is, it is the fact that somebody wrote an allocation, deallocation memory thing for you that you're using, right? And I think this is just the same. Yeah, just the same thing. And what this RID should do is radically accelerate the ability to get out a real solution because, software is cool, but if the software doesn't do anything, it doesn't matter. And so ultimately, like anything, I think if we can bring these tools out to the world faster, we should be able to A, be faster, but more importantly, do more. So our innovation curve should radically accelerate because as somebody who not too long ago was writing code, I will tell you there's a lot of times when I was like, okay, let's create kind of the plumbing and put in the, the wiring and all of the stuff that matters, but isn't new or isn't interesting and doesn't fundamentally solve the issue. Boy, if that could all just pop into place for me, that'd be fabulous, right? And if I knew that it worked and I knew it was, and I knew it was scalable and I knew it was right, I mean, I'd love that.
So good. Let's get out of the binary because otherwise we'll lose half our people. But the reality is that one of the surprising things for me in AI when I first started playing in ChatGPT was a command that I gave, which was now make it funnier. And what was interesting for me was the interpretation of humor. It's like, okay, you want something funnier. I know what that means. And I delivered something back which was funny. Take it just to stay in the code for one more second when you could say, now make it more efficient, now make it faster, now make it hit the database in a different way. That's going to be incredible. And we've seen the power of AI problem solve, being able to have the resources of the world at its digital fingertips and say that solution actually would fit here, plug it in and do that in microseconds, which is going to be great.
Absolutely.
So Shaun, at a front user level, out of the code, even though we could talk there for ages, but at a front user level, what surprised you most so far about AI?
Gosh, that's a good question. I think the biggest thing is how much of an amorphous concept it is. Because while you can see these cool demos, if I really look at real world applications, they're still up and coming. I mean, it as a technology, how many news stories have I seen on CNN or big news stations or whatever showing it off? All of them. But then if I look at how many of those things have translated into something I use on a day-to-day basis, it's almost zero. Like Loom is doing a great job writing my titles for me. I think that's fantastic. They've rocked that. But that's the most surprising thing is that it presents as a tool or as a potential tool, and you really have to then form it into something. It doesn't make stuff for you. I mean, there's the obvious, like, please write me a paper or something, right? Kind of school kid stories, but that was great on the news. But the number of people who really have used it sort of by default to truly change their world on a day-to-day basis, it's very few. And I think the reason why is because you have to have somebody come along and automatically apply it to a problem that before you were applying yourself to in order to make it work. I think because otherwise it's still a step in the process, right? Like the title writing, I could click a button, please write this title for me. But just the fact that it just does it automatically, that's what makes it magical. So I would say that's been the most surprising, is how much work actually still goes into actually translating it into a real world application.
Amazing.
I was just going to ask, because when we first started with GHL back in the day, right? One of the things that caught our attention and was so exciting for us was the Eliza bot, right?
Oh yeah.
And we used to get on webinars, I remember, and that was like our big hook. Would be like, everyone on this webinar, go to this page, and back then, I mean, it was a bit shaky and whatnot, but that was like the thing that just wowed everyone, right? And that's how in the early days. Is like, I just wanted to kind of give a nod to the fact that back then you guys were pushing AI chat and conversational, and I mean, limited features, but to see the transition now, and I'm just thinking about now, how does this affect the person? Where my brain's gone is the fact that this is great for once the person lands on the website, right? This is great for the person that has finally, the business that's made themselves searchable, findable, right? And then they've acquired some eyeballs, right? Now they can check. But what happens before that, right? Like, how do you see this actually happen on the outbound side of thing in regards to making it easier to sell? I mean, putting this power in the hands of GHL agency owners, how do we get and attract people in with these kind of features?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, because I think it's less about the content's ability to sell. Like, I think dynamic video will be a cool thing, like being able to actually do, that the old trick where it's like someone's holding the sign and it's writing the text, but now it's going to be like a real avatar kind of video kind of thing. But what I've noticed is I think AI will crush all of those things, but it's the access to the channels that are starting to get sort of squeezed, right? So at least here in the US, you have all the A2P 10DLC stuff on SMS. So what you're finding is, I feel like the outbound motion is starting to get very restricted because even pre-AI, people have sort of started blasting out text to everybody. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I get random texts like, hello, or hey, are you still there? And you're like, oh, wait, who's this? And like the first couple times you take the bait and you're like, oh, this must be somebody and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, give me a break, right? So in a response to that, of course, all the powers that be are really sort of clamping down. And on the calls, you get a lot of spam. I mean, so I think it's one of those things where AI will have to almost take a big leap up, because the quality level of whatever the outbound delivery is has to be just perfect. Because if not, you're just going to get spam, 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 and boom, you're going to get iced. Like your whole, you might as well not even have tried. So I think where that goes is, it's going to have to be something where that outreach is limited, but super tuned. So I could see a world where if you could profile me, go to my LinkedIn, go to my Twitter, know everything about me. So when you deliver that, whatever that message is, it's like, hey, Shaun, I noticed that you just went on a trip and you just did this. I'd love to talk to you about that. Like, if you could hit that, then you're going to do great. But until AI gets to that level, I think it's going to be hard, because if you do those more generic stuff, I think the problem is the channel is what's going to get you limited, not the AI's sort of ability to deliver a good message.
Interesting. And I think there's also I said this to Johan the other day, there's also going to be a meeting in the middle where an AI outbound talks to an AI inbound, and it's like, what happens then? Anyway, we'll get to that. We'll get that.
Yes,
get that going on.
That will definitely happen for sure. 100%. I don't disagree. I think you're going to find that happens a lot. And then, the AI will book the AI, and then I don't know. And then maybe the humans will just randomly show up.
The Zoom avatars turn up and have a conversation with each other.
Then the Zoom avatars will talk to each other. I mean, I do think it will be interesting to see. Like, I know, for example, there's a news station in India now that's using AI avatars to do weather reporting.
Wow.
And I don't know why we won't see more of that, right? I don't see how that doesn't become more and more of a mainstay, because as long as you don't, this is one of those things where as soon as you can trick a human, you're good there, right? Like, so I don't know why we won't have, movies this way, TV stuff this way, news stations this way, radio, podcasts, whatever. I think the proliferation of that will be pretty hard slow down or stop.
I was listening to a podcast with Peter Diamandis about 3 or 4 years ago, right? He's talking about AI in the future. This is a guy who's like buddies with Elon Musk and owns his own space exploration thing and human longevity and all this kind of stuff. And he's talking about the future of AI in advertising. And he's like, imagine the day when we've all got our own personal AI. And he's talking like, you know, the people who crack the code early on advertising to AI is going to be something that's incredible. Because think about it. It's like, hey, AI, or whatever you call it at the time, Jarvis, or whatever you want to call it. We're out of milk, right? Get me some milk. Okay, so now the AI has to go and find the milk, but which milk and which brand is it going to find? And it's like, how do you advertise to AI? You know, like, how do you actually get in there to appeal to the AI based on the, you know, the requirements and
that'll be interesting. I mean, I think that it'll just be one of those. I mean, early on, I think it should be just as simple as, can it replace, you know, if it does what you otherwise have done in the past, a lot of it's just pattern matching. I mean, as humans, we run around sort of telling ourselves that we're these highly sophisticated animals that have this sort of ability to really glean through a lot of things, but that's just total nonsense. I mean, we're easily fooled, and we tend to be habitual in nature. So I think for most people, you just buy the milk that I've always bought, I'll probably be relatively happy. And, you know, you'll make some substantive change in milk choices every 5 years. I don't think it'll be radically that different. I think humans are quite easy to pacify and satisfy, way more than we like to tell ourselves we are.
Interesting.
Robot. We are a bunch of code.
It's the physicality of it that the physicality is the next big leap, right? Is can the AI deliver in the real world, right? So can you 3D print the house? Can you go and get the milk and bring it back? I mean, but I think there's some really interesting, you know, things where like drone delivery, like I saw some cool drone delivery stuff. These guys in I think it's in Nigeria now, where they're delivering medicine that looked really cool. Where the thing will actually hover above your house, and so you don't have to put your hand in. The problem with like the Amazon one was that like you have these spinning fan blades like down on the ground, and your kid can put their finger through. But this thing has got this little elevator; it drops down. And they're already doing this in Nigeria, so I guess it works. Anyhow, like you get some of that stuff going on, and I think you're good to go. I mean, you'll still have humans to some extent or another, but again, this is this whole idea of, it doesn't have to be a perfect solution. It doesn't, like, the system itself does not have to be robotic end to end to be truly revolutionary. You just simply have to, again, 20 to 50% of it being more automated, and you get radical increases in productivity.
I love it. I'm always worried. My wife always reminds me about that Disney movie Wall-E, where the whole human race has had to leave the planet, and they're all just on. These
they're all super overweight and stuff. Yeah.
Right, you got it. My wife always reminds me that that's where we're going. But I think, well, hopefully that we evolve in a better way, and we use Wall-E as our warning poster. Coming back to high level for a second, Shaun. As we look at the demographic of high level, and I know that more and more agencies are coming on board with high level every single day. I mean, what was your numbers last week? Yep, 3,000 new agency startups last week.
I don't know. We're at 50,000 and climbing. So
wow, amazing! One of the fastest growing marketing opportunities on the planet, if not the fastest growing one, which is absolutely stunning. So it still surprises me when people say I don't have a Facebook account. So Facebook's still got a growth curve left, and clearly the
I know, it's not funny. Imagine that.
Yeah. So you
still doesn't know about Facebook.
You still have a great future in front.
Oh yeah, we have eons to go.
That's so good. And that's really, really, really cool. A lot of the people that are coming into high level, I know, are reasonably new as agency owners. Taking this knowledge now with AI, how does that change how an agency can work with a business and deliver the promises that agencies do?
Yeah. So, I mean, again, back in the past, and as much as things change, they always say the same. So it's really about, hey, I need more leads. Okay, cool, great. Here are your leads. Now, how do I follow up with those leads? How do I engage those leads? How do I get those leads to convert into customers? That's still the name of the game. And I think what this really solves for is, before, you'd have somebody doing this part-time, they're trying to leave their job, they're trying to start a new business, and they're generating leads. And then the text messaging is going out, it's working. It's the person's talking back. Yeah, woo. Oh, wait, shoot. The business owner is not there, and neither is this person, because they're at their job during the day trying to work themselves out of it, and the lead dies in the dark, right? This is where the AI now the person could say, no, Mr. or Mrs. Business Owner, you just keep on trucking doing your thing. And by the way, that's what they wanted to do anyways. They weren't interested in stopping being a plumber and moving on to being a lead nurturer. The AI plugs that gap, and now they can still be at that job. And the AI does a great job, moves that person into a booked appointment, and blam, they're growing their business. They're getting out of that rut much faster, and they're actually becoming a full-time agency owner. And even once they do that, they're just scaling way better, right? I mean, ultimately, that's the whole point. I still think lead nurture, in my opinion, is the name of the game. It's where all the money is made. It's how, again, human beings, we're very programmatic, whether we like it or not. We reach out to people, we show interest, we have very little ability in most cases to discern quality. We're just simply trying to fill a need, and we fill the need based on the response time that we get. It's almost always the case. If you really think about the last time you hired somebody, yes, you read some reviews and that's lovely, but your ability to truly know how well they do at their task is very low. You tend to judge them based on response time and response quality. That's it. The one who gets back fast and says, yes, I can solve your problem, tends to get your money. And I think this solves for that and becomes a great way for most people to put their foot in the door, because again, you can go to a business owner and say, hey, listen, I'll just get you more customers. Would you like more customers? Yeah, you don't even need to get leads yet. I'll magically mint new customers for you right now off your existing website, off your existing business, without you having to change anything. That's a heck of a nice offer.
Which is amazing, because you can literally show them on an iPad while you're there with them, or on a Zoom call with a demo. Go to my website, do this. Wouldn't you like me to do that for you? What I love about the agency model is that any business on the planet right now can run Google ads. Any business on the planet can run Facebook ads. Any business on the planet can be an SEO superstar. Any business on the planet can build marketing automations. Any business can do what agencies do. But what's really awesome is that businesses engage professionals to save time. They don't want to go and learn.
Absolutely.
I'm a baker, I'm a plumber, I'm a whatever. Yes, I could learn about Facebook ads, but I don't focus that way.
Well, then I'd stop being I would stop baking as much, right? Which that's the problem.
Exactly. Whereas an agency owner is the solution deliverer. You're able to now bring AI into that space, because you can learn about it through high level, through a platform like something that's so incredible to have at our fingertips. You can become the expert that delivers the service with the backing of high level right there behind you.
Well,
Shaun,
this is a great example of how the world changes, right? So the world's changing all the time, and as a solutions provider, your mission is to keep up with the changes. So yesterday it was like this, and now it's like that. And the baker could hear the same call, and they might even, I think of these folks as just as capable as anybody else. It's not a brain power issue; it's a time issue. It's, hey, I gotta open the store. There better be hot bread there, otherwise it doesn't matter how great your AI is. I'm not selling anything, right? So fundamentally, this is where you will always have this amazing opportunity to create value.
So actually, the AI itself allows the business owner to do what they do better.
Absolutely, 100%. That I think is the promise of AI.
Beautiful, I love it. What do you feel like the broken promise of AI is?
I just don't think it's gonna replace people or replace in general as much as people think it will. I think it's like a tool. It's like saying, I'm using a handsaw today and tomorrow I'm going to use a chainsaw. But for anybody who's used a chainsaw, it sure cuts down the tree faster, but you better be there and you better be watching it and you better know which direction you're cutting so the tree doesn't fall on your house. It falls where you need it to. Like, those things will still be relevant, right? And so I think it's a better tool that makes you more competitive, but it's just another tool, and you better know how to use it. And it's going to change. It's going to morph. Some things are going to work. Some things are going to fail. You got to be kind of in the game, knowing where it's going to go next. And as it evolves, what evolutions are real and what evolutions are not. Particularly with AI, I think it's got a capacity to fool people even more so than other technologies. So you really have to be in the market, testing it every day and knowing, this is where it's going to be successful and this is where it's not.
I love it. Take us back to your beginning days. So I'm just on your LinkedIn profile right now, and I'm going all the way back to, I'm trying to see all the before Connect, which was like your one of your first co-founder listings there. No, we've got Babcock and Jenkins. Like, you went all the way back. So take me back to Answer Connect, back to 2003.
Sure.
You're founding Answer Connect, but instead of being in 2003, it's 2023. Sure. As a founder of a business with the development of AI in this space right now, what changes for you in startup mode, in growth mode? How does AI impact that for you as a business?
Sure. We used to help a lot of small businesses, so I know this very well. Again, same demographics, small business owners getting phone calls. It was simple. You either pick up your phone or you lose the business. What would you like to do? And really that business did a great job 24/7, 365. We used to say, look, it's 2 a.m. on a Christmas morning and you get a phone call, we're going to pick up. And that made a huge difference for people. And the amount of money they paid us was like our starting price, I think, was $99 for the longest time. So for $99 a month, you're getting 24/7, 365 staff. That's insane, right? And so fundamentally, that's I think that idea has not changed. Now, do you call as much? Of course not. Heck no. In fact, you would prefer not to call if you don't have to. And so that has certainly shifted. But the idea of instantaneous response or you lose still is the same today as it always will be. And so I think that's what AI does. It really just says, listen, you don't need to take the phone call because it's probably going to be less likely to be there. Or maybe you can even replace it with like a missed call text back. But if you can drive people to live chat interactions, which, by the way, remember the big difference between, I don't care, let's just say you have voice AI and voice AI is perfect and this and that, which, by the way, that's a great example of where I personally have not seen the promise come through. I was on a demo call. I'll take a quick little detour here. I was on a demo call with a guy who had this killer AI system for ordering food. And it was really good. Like, you could call in and be like, I'd like a burrito, but hold the sour cream and add guacamole and this and that. And it worked pretty darn well, but it had to be hyper tuned for the restaurant. So it was a lot of work. So I could see like an enterprise sort of thing there, but I couldn't see the small business thing there. But even if it were perfect in every scenario, voice calls are not asynchronous. So you have to be paying attention. Not only paying attention, but you have to be not working on anything else. You have to stop what you're doing and you have to sit there and focus. And most people, they don't have the time and they don't want to when it's something routine, right? Getting a plumber to come out and fix a toilet. If I just ask the average person, you want to do that over a text or would you rather do that over a call? I'm telling you, everyone wants text. Right. That's just how it is. Yeah. And so that's the most important thing. So moving people to messaging and their natural sort of inclination to do messaging now is huge. Put that together with AI and its capacity to really do a smashing job with that use case. That's the win, in my opinion. And that's what I would tell every small business to be doing. Like, please make sure that anytime someone connects with you, it tries to move them to messaging or is messaging. It talks about messaging and offers messaging. And that messaging is covered first and foremost by AI. And then so that way, 90% of the time, you don't have to be involved and you know you're getting a great quality answer so that you can focus on all the other things that AI can't do, where you need to be growing your business. And the reality is, if you don't do that, the competitor will, and you're not going to exist anymore.
Yeah, and you've got about 30 seconds to make that customer realize who you are. What I love, like, actually, it's funny, looking back at Answer Connect, the fact that you had that as one of your first startups, and it's now flowed through into the missed call text back. And people like, Matt from HL Pro Tools and Mike Cooch and the guys out there have made fortunes from selling missed call text back as part of High Level. And now it's moving into AI. Can I spin the question a little bit though? Because I feel like the Answer Connect thing was almost a given. Like, that's now been taken over by AI. But rather than Answer Connect, like, I know that you also have a lot of history and background in kind of online payments and fast invoicing and that kind of stuff. So rather than a specific business, let me take you out of High Level, and now you've just become a founding partner in an accounting business in a local suburb. Somewhere in Ohio, just purely to pick a spot, right?
Sure.
Day one, you and your co-founder sitting together, you're talking together about how you're going to make this thing work.
Yep.
And AI is on the horizon, not even on the horizon, it's at the door. Sure. How does that technology influence your conversation as a founder? How does it influence your growth as a business starting today?
Sure. I mean, I think the reality is, if you're new, it's just awesome, because the reality is there's sales and production, and this is the truth of every business. And normally what happens is you get these partnerships where it's like one person's really good at sales, and the other person's really good at doing the job, whatever it might be. But this is where I think AI can actually come in and do most of the job, because again, software engineering, accounting, lots of these things, most of it is math. And it may be, math that presents differently than your traditional equations, but it's essentially all just math. And so AI can do math really well. And so what I would recommend that you do is be really great at sales and relationships and checking on customers and all that wonderful stuff, making them feel great. And that's what's going to get them to buy. And that's what's going to get them to pay you. And then I would try to use AI to do almost all the work, because then you can keep your costs very low. You could scale your business very well. And then over time, the world today, it's actually, if you do this right, today's how you make the most money, because because fundamentally today, not everyone knows that AI is just doing all the work. And so you can charge the prevailing rates, or more importantly, you can undercut your competition by 20%, but make 50%, 80% more profit margin because you've got AI doing the work and they don't. That will persist for several years. And then eventually it'll just be one of the situations where you're like, well, of course AI does the accounting, like duh. And so then it'll just be something where instead of being able to carry 100 local businesses, you'll have 500 local businesses or 1,000 local businesses, whatever your relationship stuff can carry with you, because we all know that really at the end of the day, AI is just doing the work. Now, that being the case, again, I don't think it'll ever be a full replacement. It's not like I'm going to say, oh, well, I don't need you. I'll just use the AI, because AI, again, is going to deliver 80% or 90%, but someone better finish off that 10%, because for anybody who's ever gotten that letter from the IRS or from the tax authority saying, oh, sorry, you underpaid us. Now you owe us that extra $1,000 plus penalties. Like, you don't want that letter. And that's really what those professionals are there to do. But I can see a world where all the standard stuff's all done by AI. So personally, for me, I'm starting today. I'm saying, how can we get AI to do most of the tax returns so I can get out in the field and sell as many of those suckers as possible, so I can make a lot of money today while AI is doing a lot of the work, because a lot of my competition just isn't hip to it yet.
I love it. I think that's fascinating. Like, instead of having a conversation as a founder, I know, Johan, you want to jump in as well. Instead of having a conversation as a co-founder about the next hire, as in, okay, we need somebody to do this job, that conversation is now, what AI can do this job so that we can engage that without, the staff costs. Johan, you wanted to jump in as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, for sure. So yesterday, Shaun, I had a moment of feeling absolutely old and obsolete. My kids, they see me as the AI guy every time they come down here. They're like, Dad's talking about AI. And they're, when we go to parties, all the dads come to me, they want to talk about AI, blah, 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 blah. And then yesterday, my kids called me up and they go, Dad, you have to come. You have to come. Look at this, look at this, look at this. I'm like, why are they so excited? And so they're like, you got to see this. Then we go upstairs and they show me this TV show that they're watching on Netflix. I don't know if you guys have seen this thing called Dance Monsters. I don't watch TV, right? So I'm like, I'm going to play it for you. It's going to go for like 10 seconds and you'll get the idea. But check this out, all right?
Oh, bit blurry. There we go.
Hang on. It's literally AI avatars dancing on the screen live with real live dancers. And they look so cool. It's like Monsters Inc., but having real people next to you with the monsters from Monsters Inc. in the frame, like dancing.
Yep.
And they're like, when can your AI do that, Dad? And
yeah, right. Totally.
How long was I down there for? I've just woken up and come up to the future.
Exactly. The world just passed me by, right? Yeah. I'm not surprised. I think that's just, I don't see why that isn't more and more of the standard.
It is so cool. And so then I remember when Facebook ads came out back in 2007, and I was the guy going out to everyone going, for 5 cents, you can get in front of your ideal audience. You can tell, you can tell Facebook, I want to go for all the people who are in a relationship, this age, this interest, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, no way. And so right now we're doing the same thing. Like, AI is the big buzzword. But what I wanted to bring back to is the experience that all of us have, the experience that the business owner has can never be replaced by AI. You can articulate it, you can channel it, but the experience that the business owner has, AI is just another tool that with your business acumen, you can direct it, you can show it which way to go. And there are the younger generation, they adapt way quicker because they've grown up with this. My kid, like, he's 7 and he's talking about AI and he's building AI, models and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. By the time he's 14, he's going to know he lives and breathes this stuff. But the business acumen is going to come from the older generation, from the people who've been there, done that. So there's a lot of people I know in our community who reach out all the time going, I feel so far behind. And we're like, it's literally 8 months in, we feel behind and we're at the bleeding edge of this thing. Don't worry about it. You're fine. Just focus on your business, understand the technology, understand what it can do, and then find the right people who can implement it for you. You don't need to learn this stuff. You just need to know
I don't disagree at all.
Actually, Shaun, that's a really good point. You don't need to learn this stuff. So one of the things that we come across a lot, so we do live calls every day with our group, and we're answering our community all the time. And one of the things that we come across a lot is completely non-tech focused. It's actually psychologically focused. It's psychologically focused on the people that go, I just don't know if I can do it, and I'm hesitant to push on the button. What Johan just said there was really important. And I think like giving a shout out to you and the team at High Level. When we talk to our team about pushing that button, about you don't need to be the one that knows everything, we're actually coming back to the fact that High Level has got 50,000 agencies on the books today, that we literally have hundreds of thousands of customers using this system today. So even though you are new to this environment, and let's face it, we're all new to AI, one of the great things, and I just want to kind of bounce this back to you, is that you've got a team of 300 plus programmers who are focused on this stuff. You've got a team of creators and developers that are on this stuff. You don't need to be at the bleeding edge. You don't need to be the champion. All you need to do is plug into Shaun Clark coming at you. All you need to do is plug into the fact that the group is constantly evolving and the technology is coming through in a platform that we already own. So, man, I want to say thank you for that, but just get your feedback on that in terms of somebody who's feeling like, I'm not sure I understand this stuff. How do you put that into
I mean, again, we're kind of like on this journey together, right? And so our goal, our mission is to produce the technology so that you can actually take it out to the clients and actually make it work for them, right? And it's a give and take, right? Some of the stuff when it comes out, you're not the right fit for it. Actually, it's going to be for a certain segment of our audience who's super already down that road. And you know what? They're going to give us that early feedback, and we're going to massage it and make it even simpler, or come out different versions of it that you will understand. Or time will just go on and you're not ready for it because you need to sell this other stuff up front that's a lot simpler and a lot easier, and honestly stuff that you need to sell anyways, and now you're ready for that. So everybody can kind of be wherever they want to be, and I don't think you should worry about it all, because that is the problem I see a lot too. Is like, oh, I got to learn everything. It's like, no. Really what you got to do is learn one thing, sell one thing, get value for your client, and then do that probably 100 more times, and now come back and learn the second thing, right? That would be the ideal circumstance for me. Like if everyone sold missed call text back and then came back, I would love that, because then we'd be in a real world where it'd be like, okay, I've got 100 clients paying me $300 a month for one feature. Now what? And they're like, okay, great. Let's take you to the feature 2 or feature 3, feature 4, whatever it is. But let's not go the other direction, which is like learn 100 features, then make a sale. Like that's where problems occur, because you're never going to learn everything. It's sort of like today, I don't know everything that High Level does. I just don't. I couldn't tell you. There are things High Level can do that I have either forgotten or I have no clue ever happened, because even if I made a video on it, I may have forgotten about it already. So at the end of the day, if I don't know all of them, how can you? And that's the whole point. And clients, remember, they don't care about the tech. That's the number one thing, right? Like the whole point is you're that translator, that filter between the tech and the solution that they're looking for. Your job is to deliver the solution. You know what tools you need to deliver the solution, but it doesn't matter to them. And you should stay away from that. Don't talk to clients about tech. Don't talk to them about features, because worst case scenario, they're gonna be like, oh, I think I already have that, or I have an opinion on that, or this or that. That doesn't matter. Your job is to deliver the end result. And if you do that, you're going to win, you're going to scale, you're going to make lots of money. People are going to love you for it. But if you start talking about tech and features, you're going to get lost. They're going to get lost, and you're just going to lose the opportunity to create the value.
I love it. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, and all the AI bots that are listening in and translating. Thank you so much for tuning in. Guys, if you want to scale, if you want to grow, if you want to be part of an evolving evolution in technology, in customer service, and growth in your business, get your butts to Dallas in October. Come and join the Level Up series over in Dallas. We're going to be there live and loud. Shaun Clark's going to be there live and loud. The man is a legend. And Shaun, thank you so much for coming on board with us for our session today, talking through all of this incredible technology and reminding us that it is actually solving the problem for the customer that's going to make us money, that's going to make us grow and keep our agency's wheels turning. Shaun, thank you so much, man. We appreciate you. We appreciate all of the team at High Level. We look forward to catching you in Dallas.
Bye, folks. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man. Thanks so much.
Again.
Bye.
Bye.